It's Ultimate Combat Radio. Brought to you by Aztec Highway on 1280 and 97.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidahm here talking some mixed martial arts. This segment is brought to you by Aztec Highway. Get it your way at the highway, WDFA. Now, I neglected to mention last segment that we actually have some stuff to give away here, and I love giving away good stuff. Ever since I got fat like Santa Claus, I just feel like I need to start giving things away. So,
if only you were jolly.
What's that?
If only you were jolly.
If only I were jolly. Yeah, you got a good point there. I'm the antithesis of Santa. We've got some special event passes to go see the UFC 143 in 3D at Century 16 Theaters, which is kind of cool, man. I can only imagine the blood splatter, all that kind of cool stuff. Have you guys experienced any of the 3D experience with UFC?
I think this might be the first time they do the 3D. Not the first time they have it in a theater, but I think it's the first 3D experience.
All right, well, you could be part of the first time they've got that going on, and it's going on tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night.
All right, tomorrow night. And we're going to be breaking that fight down in just a minute. But before we do that, we've got a special guest. In fact, those of you who listen to this station here, you've heard him before. You hear him every day, Jan Jorgenson. But we get a chance to kind of take him out of his element. You know, you guys know him as that really tough football player guy. We know him as this really tough cage fighter guy. And he's got a big cage fight going on coming up in a couple weeks. Jan, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on.
We're excited to have you here because, of course...
So those are, real quickly, for those of you guys who don't know, you say that the football field is my element, but UFC is probably my big passion right now. So if I could, on our show, I would talk about UFC all the time, so I'm just glad I get to come on with you and talk it for a little bit.
Well, there you go. Let's talk some UFC then. What's going on this weekend? Do you feel like this is what's bigger for you? You were just labeled a football guy, now you're telling us you're an MMA guy. What's bigger for you, the Super Bowl or the UFC show that's going on this weekend?
If it were Diaz St. Pierre, I would say the UFC, but because it's Diaz Condit, it's the Super Bowl. But I'm with you. I've been listening to the show. It's not as good of a fight. I'm still excited to watch it. But if it were Diaz St. Pierre, I would be saying the UFC. But because it's not, I got to go with the Super Bowl.
Well, for that super smart answer, I got to give him these tickets, don't I?
It's okay. It's okay. I have to be covering the Lakers Jazz game on Saturday night for work. But trust me, I'm gonna have my computer there watching the fight.
Oh, I'm sure you will be. All right. So now let's cut to the chase. And you're fighting in the Showdown event coming up. And who are you fighting?
I am fighting a young man named Aaron Magro.
Now, is there a little bad blood between the two of you?
You know, there is a little bit. Because we were supposed to fight before, and it was when I had the whole drug testing incident. I actually came on your show and we talked about it. And him and I were supposed to fight that night, and he just likes to run his mouth. I don't know what it is about him. He just likes to talk. I actually don't have anything bad to say about the guy. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a great grappler, except for he likes to run his mouth. And he's talked a lot about me and a lot about why I didn't fight that night and a lot of before that night. And I'm just pretty anxious to go in there and shut that big mouth that he has. And that's it. I don't have anything else against him. I don't really know much else about him. But he just likes to talk a whole lot, and I can't wait to go out there and fight.
Well, since I'm the kind of guy that likes to stir things up a little bit, tell us what he was saying. Was he implying that you were on heroin, or was he saying that you ate the poppy seed intentionally to dodge him? What was he saying that seemed to ruffle your feathers?
Well, he said a lot of things, and one of those people that likes to talk and doesn't really have much basis behind it. He was saying that I did it on purpose because I was scared to fight him. He was saying that it probably wasn't because I tested positive for opiates. And he was saying that I tested positive probably for some performance-enhancing drug, just all kinds of different things that he said. And it's just kind of been an ongoing thing. I think he's just one of those dudes that is looking for some sort of attention, and he's finally got it because he's fighting somebody who has a name and everything, and he's just looking to cash in on all the attention that he can get.
How much of that do you think is maybe just trying to build a little hype around the fight so maybe he can sell some tickets, or do you think he really believes some of the things that he was saying?
You know, it's a good question because it started well before we were supposed to fight the first time, and it just kind of got to be more and more. I don't think anybody really knows who he is, or anybody really cares. So it's it's a really good question. I'm not really sure. I don't think it's. I don't know. To be honest with you, I really don't know because it started before we were supposed to fight the last time, and I think he just wants to be noticed. I really do. I just think he wants people to know who he is, and I don't know if it's more about pumping up the fight. I just think he wants people to know exactly who he is.
So who exactly is he? I mean, what do you know about him?
I know he's a very good grappler. I do. And I'm sure he's been working on making his fight game a very complete game. He fought in your show a couple times, and both of his wins came by submission. And I've seen him in a few grappling matches, and I know he's got some submission skills. And so that's what I know about him, and I know he's a hard-working guy. I know he's a military guy, so that means he's got a big heart, and he's not going to give up in a fight. And so I know that I'm in for a fight. I know that he's going to come out and he's going to be ready to go. And I'm just going to go out there and play to my strengths. But I know he's going to be a good challenge.
Well, now, Jan, I know the guy and I like him. He's a nice guy, but he's nowhere near your caliber. I mean, he's really not an accomplished fighter. And so do you feel maybe he's just trying to make it some type of hype, kind of what they're doing with Condit and Diaz tomorrow? Is he trying to just make this a compelling fight?
Mike, that's actually a really good question, and you may be able to answer it more than I can. I think he's pretty confident that he thinks he can beat me because, from what I understand, the first time that we were supposed to fight, it was a fight that he really wanted. It's a fight that he really jumped at the chance to get. I think he really feels like he can beat me. And like I said, he's got some pretty good skills. He's got some good submission skills. And anybody on any given day, you've watched MMA for a long time. I've watched MMA for a long time. And it was someone who has great submission skills can go out and can catch somebody on any given day. So it's something I'm going to be prepared for. But you could probably answer that question more than I can. But I really think he took the fight. And really wanted the fight because he feels like he can beat me, and I think he feels like his grappling and submission skills are better than mine, and I think that's why he wanted to do it, and I think that's why he's tried to hype it up because he feels like he can beat me, and he wants to get the attention when he feels like he'll get the job done.
I know another kid like that. His name's Tim Lund. he talks a lot of mess too. So at any rate, so the fight is going down. When is it going down? February 24th?
Yeah, February 24th, 3 weeks from today.
And how do people go about getting tickets? Do you do the fighters sell tickets?
The fighters sell tickets, but I will say that the best bet, if you don't know a fighter, if you do know a fighter, one of the fighters, you know how to get a hold of them. Always buy tickets from the fighters because fighters don't get paid enough. I know the Showdown pays fighters actually pretty well, and we definitely appreciate it, but fighters are out there trying to make it. So if you know fighters, buy tickets from fighters because it's part of how they get a percentage of that. So I always encourage the fans to buy tickets from fighters. If you don't know any fighters and you're just looking for an opportunity to get tickets, go to showdownfights.com or go to Smith Tix and get them there. You can go to smithtix.com and get tickets there, but I always encourage you to get it from fighters.
Are you able to share that information with us? What is Showdown paying these days?
I honestly don't know if I'm privileged to say.
Okay.
But from what I understand and from what I have been offered from other fighting organizations, they do the best when it comes to paying guys around here.
Oh, fair enough. Good stuff. So now you're training down at Pit Elevated, correct?
Yeah, I actually split my time. I live up in Salt Lake, and I'm a huge fan of Pit Elevated, and I'm a huge fan of Jason Merlick down there. I'm a big fan of his, and Jeremy Horner's also gracious enough to let me come into his gym and to train a little bit there. He's a great teacher. Everybody knows him. He's a legend, and he's got some really good big guys at his place. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to get a little bit in both places and to get myself ready for this fight.
So would you say that you're a part of one team as opposed to another, or are you just kind of freelancing going between the two?
You know, I'm not looking to burn any bridges, but you know, Jason's the guy who corners me, and he does a great job with me, and I just appreciate everybody that's helping me out.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been, like I said, Jeremy's let me come in there and train at his place, and his guys have treated me great, and so I've been fortunate enough to be able to learn from a couple of really good teachers and train with really good guys at both places.
Oh, good stuff. I'd love to hear that. You know, it's nice to get that where you can go to both gyms and nobody has any hard feelings, and it's nice to hear that those things are actually starting to come about. So it's good for you.
Yeah, it is. It is very good for me, and like I said, I can't thank both of those guys enough because they both have a very high level of training. I think that's one thing that we're pretty fortunate of, and you can attest to this. For Utah being Utah and just having the Salt Lake and Utah County, there are some very high level coaches here. There's some very high level gyms. You throw in some like you throw in your place. You got some very high level coaching. You talk about Absolute. You talk about One Hit. You talk about a lot of these different places. There's very high level training here in Utah, and we're pretty fortunate to have it in the state.
You know, and you're just scratching the surface there. There are a lot of great gyms out there. I totally agree with you, and there's a lot of talent here. But we're obviously big Jan Jorgenson fans here tonight, and we want to wish you the best of luck in your big fight. And come back and talk to us about the next thing. And in fact, before we let you go, what's next for you? What are you looking at beyond this fight?
You know, it's a good question. I'm just trying. I know this is a very cliche answer, but I'm just taking things one day at a time, one fight at a time. After I get past this fight, we'll see what comes my way. But I'm just looking to continue to get better, and the hope is that big offer comes eventually. But I'm just looking to continue to get better and take fights as they come, go one step at a time, not get too far ahead of myself. And just continue on my way.
All right, well, Jan Jorgenson, you certainly have all the tools to get it done, and we want to wish you the best of luck. And hopefully we're going to see you in the UFC one day, my man.
Yeah, I hope so, too. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for coming on the show. All right, there you go, Jan Jorgenson, 1280 The Zone's very own Jan Jorgenson, talking about his fight career. And, the kid's got nothing but, sky's the limit for him, really.
Sounds like it.
There you go, man.
He sounds like he's done this interview thing once or twice.
He's not afraid of the radio.
I just want to see someone fight him. That last fight he had I don't think it was a very good match, but we won't even go into that.
That's been my only, if you can say, they haven't found him very tough competition yet. And it's not a knock on him.
Sure.
He fights who they put in front of him, but they got to get him some tougher competition.
So for all you big guys out there that think you're tough,
Jan.
come on, we need some big guys out there.
We need some U fans to rally around. This guy was a big, prolific BYU football player. That'd be fun to see, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, good stuff. One more time, I want to kind of remind people of the poll question. The UFC versus the Super Bowl, what's bigger for you? And if you call in and tell us something super cool, we have these 3D UFC and 3D passes we're going to be giving away. You can go watch it at Century 16 Theaters. So give us a call, Robertina, one more time on the phone number.
470-570 or 670-1280, or text us at 53318 and text in what you think.
And we won't hold it against you if you pick the Super Bowl. We'll still give you the tickets, man, and then you can watch in 3D and then watch the Super Bowl the next day. So we're going to be talking to Tim Goodwin and also breaking down the UFC with the Great White Joe Martinez when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We got more Ultimate Combat Radio when we come back.